Hello and welcome to a new series that is dealing with Slovenia X Photoreal add-on for prepared and Flight Simulator X. In this new series we will try to explore the new add-on, which is, let's say, Slovenia X on steroids. The main addition is photoreal coverage of the whole country of Slovenia, and some modifications and some corrections, some additions. For instance, the whole vegetation was regenerated anew to have even more detailed coverage and more detailed adaptation according to the underlay that is also new. So this is meant as an introductory video and some behind the scenes video and an explanation of the product. I'll try to be concise and comment on the way along with some sightseeing that we are doing throughout this video. We were taking off from Ljubljana Airport. This is the only airport that is not included in the bundle. So this time Slovenia X Photoreal comes with a bundle of all the rest of the airfields, so 41 airfields and airstrips in there, but Ljubljana is not included except for the underlay. And underlay, as you have seen it, it's quite high, it's in very high resolution, so it's LOD 17, and the rest of Slovenia is covered in LOD 15. So you can see now that all these intricate details of the landscape, of the fields, of meadows, pastures, woods, and all that's part of the scenery and part of the landscape comes to life and has a lot of variety in it. Of course, because you are looking at aerial imagery, it's really good actually. So I had to reduce it in size and compress it very much, because otherwise it would be much too big for flight simulation purposes of this simulator architecture. So, and I think that this really brings the current architecture to its limits in terms of what can be done fluently and flowingly, that you get enough of the frame rate per second that you have that it runs on a, let's say, moderate computer, not some extra high super duper water cooled processors and so on. So as you can see here, the details are quite high. So it's 1.2 meters per pixel, which is decent, as you can see, especially at this height, which is, I would say, 2000 feet, perhaps 1500, so quite low. When you come closer to the ground, you will see the granularity, but from this perspective, it doesn't show as much pixelation as usual. And all that you have expected is there. So you have churches there with cemeteries, you see, then you have castles, you have bridges, and again here all the villages, all the building placement is spot on, so everything is placed correctly. Here you can see church and then the graveyard in the vicinity. You see some factories, some special buildings, all of the roads, so the traffic is still there and still accurate. Other details like the cellular towers, the transmitting towers, as this one here, and churches on the hills. And now all the hills actually are unique in terms that you can discern. So we can see Ljubljana Lesce Bled airport here in the distance with the highway going by and the big quarry there. And this is a dam for a power plant near Jesenice and Jesenice. And all these mountains are very detailed in terms that you can see even the hiking paths. So this is the area around Bled that was generic beforehand. So we had this photoreal insert of Bled Lake and immediate surroundings, but now you can see that everything else is also covered. So none of it repeats itself, and you can really see now the buildings being placed where they should be. There is the golf course in the distance. We will be flying over it in just a short while, and then Sava River deep below in the, let's say, gorge, or at least the valley. So the river carved its valley throughout the years. So we made a circle here just to show Lake Bled. And the bridges, the power plants, all there. The water features were water masked by hand, so I would say that the majority of water features that are in Slovenia were found and water masked. So you have the reflections, you have the effects, the wave effects on the all the big rivers are there. Again, you can see the highway going into the tunnel, Karavanke tunnel there. All the sandbanks and gravel banks of the rivers come to life. So they really shine in this photoreal imagery. And of course, especially the mountains, because beforehand you had one textures being repeated over these jagged edges. And when you knew the hill from its shape, then you knew what you are looking at. But now you can actually discern hiking paths there, mountain trails, these deep valleys, and all these fine details. We are now going along the Kerma Valley. This is a popular valley for the hike towards the highest mountain, which is called Triglav. And we are flying along then, and then we will go over this mountain ridge here on the left. So Triglav on the right, and we are going over this ridge, and we are coming into these plains. Just behind this ridge there is like a more flat terrain in the hills, with some high plains with mountain huts, with different huts for shepherds. This is like a sports center for different things, and a ski slope. You can see that all this really is now very fine detailed, and I would say it's like a VFR heaven in a sense, because you have all the variety of the landscape and geography. So you will see the coast, and you will see the mountains, and you will see big plains, you will see rivers deep down in the valleys on the flatlands. You will see different kinds of spots, like this one, a plain in the mountain range with the hut there, with these small little shepherd's huts there in the middle. So plenty to explore, and this is deep in the mountains, quite high and distant also from the road, so you can only walk on foot here or fly over actually. And now we are nearing Mount Triglav, so the left is the highest, and Mount Kredarica, freeware, we just overflown it. This is another valley. From the other side it's called Vrata Valley. In terms of season, so this is Vršič Pass that goes into the Trenta Valley, and now we are turning towards airport Bovec, and we will be going steeply down towards Bovec, which is also surrounded by mountains. The seasons are actually two. I intended to have more seasons, like 4 seasons, so spring and summer, and then and winter without snow and winter with snow, but at the end the amount of data was just simply too much to have rest of the seasons without snow and one with the snow coverage. As you can see here, this is the let's say the 3-season texture, but with the autumn trees it looks quite persuasive also in the fall, and it will look as good in the springtime and as good in the summertime. So it's like a, let's say, one fits all. But Slovenia wouldn't be Slovenia without a proper snow coverage that happens in the winter. So it was paramount to put that into the same grade. Now we are landing in Bovec Airport. As before, the airports are done in LOD 16 or LOD 17 resolution. So when you come closer to them, the resolution of the landscape and the photoreal imagery increases actually, and you get the usual goodies, the 3D grass that's also seasonal, and other things that are injected through SOD add-on. And again, you can see here Mount Canin with the ski lift going upwards there. You can see the bed where it goes, and again the the town of Bovec is there, and when you turn you see that it's surrounded with the mountains, the greenery, and the rest of it is the way you are used to probably already or were used to in Slovenia X. We will be coming to a stop there in front of the hangar, and then the season will change because I wanted to show you also the winter textures and the winter how it looks in the winter. So we will be going from Letališče Bovec towards the coast, and you will see this transition of snow, how it looks on the border. So the border with the landclass of the neighbouring Italy, for example, where this is still generics, not photoreal, and you will see how the, let's say, how the coastal region, the coast looks in the winter. The grass here was not adapted to the winter time at the moment of the recording, so this was one of the first flyovers over the finished scenery, and some modifications were made, so the grass will not be as visible as it is in this video. So we took off. You can already see the snow coverage, and it looks wintry. Of course, the photoreal imagery has its limits, so the shadows are really dark and deep, because at the time of the recordings of the imagery, the shadows were as were, and could not be, let's say, improved much during the post-processing. But still the water masks are there, so the rivers still flow in the winter time, and you can see that also from different angles it looks differently. So sometimes it's brilliantly white, at other times it's more like this, let's say, grayish silvery color, like you've seen the lake there. It's an artificial lake for a power plant there. And here you will see the transition between landclass scenery on the right, which is Italy, and then going slowly into this photoreal imagery that's wintry. And Sveta Gora, this is one of the locations that's quite popular as a pilgrimage site. And now we are in the coastal region, but in winter time, when the colors are a bit more dull and more subtle, so not so green as in summer and the rest of the year. And this is this Soline salt mine, let's say, and you can see that also here improvements were made in terms of water blends, and these reflections now really come to life. And we are flying over Piran in the winter. Some trees have lost their leaves and so on, and we are going towards Strunjan, Salins or something similar in English. You can see the typical church there. This is what I wanted to show you as an example of Slovenia X Photoreal. Thank you for watching.